Survival is probably our strongest human drive, and our survival fears are activated most profoundly, I believe, when we get a diagnosis of a potentially life-threatening illness or a degenerative disease that is going to rob us of our function over time. So if you have ever been in the unfortunate position of receiving a disease like this, you'll be able to relate to that fear and that shock that you experience when you get the diagnosis. But very often we're so focused on what needs to be done, on what the next steps are, what our treatment options are, that we don't take the time to truly sit with and process the fear. And I would argue that one of the reasons why we get sick is because we live as if we're never going to die. We don't think about it. We tend not to have it as part of our conversations. We don't speak about it. And most of our fear then ends up being suppressed, or we distract ourselves from it, or actually a lot of it is unconscious. We don't even know it's there. And over time, this unconscious and conscious fear basically depletes our immune function. It weakens our immune system. It activates our sympathetic nervous system, our fight or flight mechanism, and it creates stress in the body, and it creates aging in the body, and ultimately it can create disease. So facing our fear, processing our fear is really necessary in order to keep ourselves healthy. And once we have a diagnosis of some sort of degenerative or dread disease, or even a disease that might not be life-threatening in the moment, but can actually erode the quality or the quantity of our lives, it is important that we uncover those unconscious fears that have got us to this place. It's important that we face the fear that we have because of our diagnosis and the implications that this may have for our lives and for our loved ones. And so to that end, my colleague and I, Antoinette McInnes, are putting together or have put together a masterclass called the F.E.A.R, all in capitals, masterclass, Face Everything and Recover. Instead of forget everything and run, instead of buying into the false evidence appearing real acronym, which is correct, but false evidence appearing real allows us to fob our fear off and go, oh, well, it's just false evidence appearing real. We try and logic it away. Fear is wired into us in the primitive parts of our brain, and those parts of our brain don't respond to logic. They don't respond to our cognitive efforts to actually pretend that the fear isn't there. So while false evidence appearing real may well be what fear is, unless we face that false evidence, unless we are able to process it effectively, it is going to keep us immunocompromised and therefore prevent us from healing. So if you are ready to heal, if you are ready to face your fears and see how you can use that to recover, then I would invite you to join our masterclass. It's happening on Thursday, the 6th of November at 6 p.m. South African time. That's Central African time, and it will be on Zoom. The registration link is either in the body of this post somewhere or in the comments below.